Hey guys, it's arm day. We're going to make croissants and it's going to take a lot of upper body strength. I know croissants sound intimidating, but we'll do it together. Professional bakers out there will probably cringe at my skills. But hey, as long as it tastes good, right?
Viennoiserie, baked goods that are leavened with yeast and is a cross between bread and pastries. There are two types of main viennoiseries, laminated dough and non-laminated dough. Laminated doughs are layers of dough and butter to create light and flaky pastries. Examples are croissants and danishes. Example of a non-laminated dough is brioche. Are croissants puff pastries?
No, they are both laminated doughs, but croissants are leavened with yeast, puff pastries are not. I can't wait to turn my kitchen into a French bakery. Let's get started.
This recipe is from the Ferrandi cookbook. To the stand mixer bowl, add 125 grams of all-purpose flour, 125 grams of bread flour, 5 grams or 1 packet of active dry yeast, 5 grams or 1 teaspoon of salt, 30 grams or 2.5 tablespoons of sugar. Give the dry ingredients a mix. Add half a cup of milk, room temperature, 8 grams or 1 teaspoon of honey, 50 grams or 3 tablespoons of chilled butter. With the dough hook, run the mixer on medium speed for 4 minutes, then high speed for 6 minutes. Shape the dough into a ball, cover with a plastic wrap or put it in a plastic bag. Let it rest at room temperature for 30 minutes. Roll the dough out into roughly a 6 by 11.5 inch rectangle. Wrap it in a plastic wrap or in a plastic bag and freeze for 30 to 40 minutes. After you stick the dough in the freezer, take out 125 grams or 1 stick plus 2 tablespoons of butter out of the fridge. Let it rest at room temperature. Butter with 84% butter fat is recommended. Too soft will leak out. Butter needs to be malleable. If the butter is too cold, it will crack while laminating. About 5 to 10 minutes before the dough is ready to come out of the freezer, we're going to make the butter block. Place the butter on a parchment paper. Fold the paper so it roughly measures out to 5 by 5 inches. Roll the butter out. You can also pound it out. Pound louder if you hate your neighbors. Make sure you roll it out into the corners in an even layer. Take the dough out of the freezer. Roll the dough out large enough so you can bring the two side ends together and also to have enough seam on the top and bottom. Place the butter on the dough. Bring the two ends together and pinch the seam. Pinch and close the top seams and the bottom seams. The directions tell you to roll out the dough into a 10 by 24 inch rectangle. I decided to put less stress on myself and just roll it out as thin as I can without tearing the dough or the butter leaking out. Do not apply strong pressure when rolling. It can cause the butter to leak and distribute unevenly. Pounding is allowed. We're going to fold the dough, which is called the double turn method. Bring one side to the middle, then bring the other side to the middle. Now fold over in half. Wrap or place the dough in a bag and refrigerate for 15 minutes so the dough can relax. Roll the dough out again into a 10 by 24 inch rectangle. Now we're going to do the single turn method. Fold one side over by a third, then the other side, just like a business letter. Cover with a plastic wrap or place it in a plastic bag. Refrigerate for 30 minutes or overnight. I like to leave it overnight so I can bake it in the morning for breakfast. You can also freeze the dough. When you're ready to bake, thaw it in the fridge overnight. Take the dough out of the fridge and let it sit at room temperature for 15 minutes. Roll the dough into a 9.5 by 20 inch rectangle, or the best you can. Trim the edges. Measure out 4 inches apart on one side with a knife or a pizza cutter. Then on the other side, mark at 2 inches, then 4 inches apart after that. Connect the cuts and cut into triangles. Cut a small slit on the center of each triangle base. Gently stretch the triangle. Roll the triangles from the base to the tip. Make sure the tip is resting on the bottom. Don't forget to shape the scraps. They're called baker's treats, and they're actually really good. Place the croissants in a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Place them in a turned-off oven. Boil water in a pan and place it in the oven to create moisture and heat. Proof for 2 to 2.5 hours. In the middle of your proofing time, you might need to take the pan out, reheat it, and place it back in the oven. Let's do the indentation test to see if our croissants are done proofing. Gently press on the dough with a floured finger. The dough should spring back slowly. Take the trays and the pan of water out of the oven. Preheat to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Brush the croissants with egg wash. For the egg wash, beat 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of milk together. Bake for 14 to 18 minutes. Watch at 12 minutes because they can burn easily. I have personally experienced this. Rotate and switch baking sheets in the middle of the baking time for more even baking. I took the tray with the small size croissants out at 15 minutes and the larger croissants at 18 minutes. Troubleshooting. If your butter leaks out while rolling, the butter might be too soft. Place it back in the bag or wrap it. Refrigerate it for roughly 15 minutes. Pressing too hard while rolling can tear the dough and cause the butter to leak. Try applying a little flour to the area and let it rest in the fridge for 15 minutes or so. If a large amount of butter leaks out during the baking process, the croissants might be underproofed. If the croissants come out doughy in the middle after baking, they might be underproofed as well.
Cheers! That is so good. Buttery, flaky, crispy on the outside. I hope you give this recipe a try. It doesn't have to be perfect. You might go through some troubleshooting, you might not. Regardless, it's gonna be delicious and you made it. That's it for me, guys. Until next weekend. Bye.